Hey, what's up, guys? It's Lead here, and I'm back for another commentary about Hornets Story. Um, as you guys can see, there's the nest that I fell victim to. So, and I'll get to explain um, here very shortly. But if you guys want, one thing I want to say is if you guys want me to turn this into a series or that, let me know in the comments below. I don't know if I really want to do it right now, but it's just kind of like maybe start a story series, stories of like in real life stories, that happen around the house and I don't know, happen out in the world and that, I guess you want to say. But so let's get started with the story. So I've never been stung this bad before. As you know, some of you guys may know, um, and just in case you don't, hornets are pretty much the most aggressive thing around where I live that you can get stung by. Um, so yeah, that was pretty. It was a pretty wild experience. The worst thing that like the worst stinging I've ever had was I stirred up a ground nest of bees out back one time with my next door neighbor on accident digging when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Got only stung like once or twice. Um, I can't remember exactly, but my neighbor got like stung like 5 times. He was a little slower the runner than me, but the better thing is to stay still, but when you're getting completely tore up, it's not easy to stay still. And the same thing in this case. So basically, what I was doing is I was out trimming trees. I had 3 trees to trim. I did the first one, which is kind of next. It's like off to the right of where you're seeing right now. I had to trim that tree, and then I also had to go out back and I trimmed that tree. And I was pretty much, I was like, you might as well say done with it. I just wanted, my dad had left for a tiny bit. I forget exactly where he had to go. Um, but he had to go for like a tiny bit and he told me he'd be back. And then, so I decided that I'd let him, get his judgment on the tree out back, and how I did, I guess you want to say, and see if he wanted anything like little touch up spots or that. But so we did that, and then I went out front. I decided like I'll just get started out front, and on the front tree. And my mom was out there, and she was pulling weeds out front, and she never even noticed the nest either. And by the way, I'll flip to the other picture. Um, by the way, I mean you guys can tell. I mean it right now since like I'm pointing it out. You got to realize I'm kind of like distracted. Not, I mean, I should have got a better picture. I'm sorry. I should have got a better picture of looking straight at it, but I don't really want to get that close again. And if I'm mowing grass, I sit there and just pass by it real fast. I try not to stick around it too much. But so basically, I go underneath it and when I'm cutting grass, just quickly. But anyways, um, so basically, guys, this thing's kind of camouflaged in. I mean, as you guys can tell from there, if you're not really like, if I don't point it out, like it's kind of camouflaged in. I mean, you gotta realize the way the sun was. I mean, it just everything was perfect. It was the right conditions to where it made it like, I mean, it acted as camouflage, and I wasn't paying that close of attention. I'm just getting ready to trim trees, and from the front of it, like if you were right up next to it, in the way, I'm gonna flip back to the other picture the way it faces, you can kind of tell from the front of where I was like looking back at it that like you can't see. So I was underneath there. This is how it started though. I was underneath there and I was trimming suckers, which if you don't know what suckers are, they're like little roots. Like they grow off the roots and they grow up like miniature trees out of the ground. Um, you know, Not all trees produce suckers, but they can. So um, if you've, that's basically what they call them. It's like they're not really trees, but they're like I don't know. It's like a branch coming out of the ground. I guess you want to say like a mini branch. That's the best way to describe it. So I was trimming off those and plucking them off the ground. I come out and I'm just getting started, and here I start with the branch of the hornet's nest. And like I said, my mom, she was like coming up next to me, and not very far from me, and I had trimmed the branch of which the hornet's nest was staying on, so like on the outside of it right there. And so, to start rounding, shaping the tree and that, make it look better. And so my mom's like standing off to the side. And again, I mean, this is how camouflaged it is. And I said, "Hey, mom, how's it look?" And I stepped back for a minute, like 2 or 3 feet, and she says, "Yeah, that looks pretty good," because I was asking her. I mean, obviously I just started, but I just wanted to see how she thought the rounding, because I just trimmed just a couple branches. And basically, what happened was, is she no more and and sat there and was like, "Oh, get away!" Like it was one. She had like one hornet went to her first, and then I was closer than she was. So literally a second later, I heard buzzing, and then they just lit me up. I mean, they just attacked. I mean, I sat there and I first hit the ground, like laid flat on the ground, and my dog was out there too. I forgot to say that. My dog was out there, and so he ran towards me, like, "What's up? What's wrong?" And I just pushed him out of the way, and I took off running, and I'm like screaming and flailing, because I mean it hurts. I mean it's not like hey, I'm having fun. I wish I would have got it on video though, because this video would have been viral. I mean, this would have been one of those cover videos on YouTube, because I mean it would have been on America's Funniest Home Videos. I mean, it was absolutely hilarious because I'm sitting there flailing around, and poor neighbor kids across the street, are sitting there like, what is wrong with him? Because I mean, obviously they can't see the bees really hornets from that far. Um, and the hornets are not bees, by the way. They're wasps technically, but I just call a wasp a bee. They all do the same job, but they sting you. But yeah, so hornets are aggressive, Bill. But anyways, so I'm sitting there flailing all around, and they get caught up in my shirt, and I'm sitting there screaming, "They're in my shirt! They're in my shirt!" And I'm still running, over to the neighbor's yard. Is like from where I'm standing right now at this photo, like I took off running behind me, like the opposite direction, and like ran towards the road, and then took a hard left and beelined it for the neighbor's yard. My mom's screaming at the same time. She's chasing me down. She's saying, "Take off your shirt! Take off your shirt!" And so they let them loose so they won't sting me so bad. Because hornets can sting multiple times too, and that's not a cool thing about them. It's like you get some bees, certain bees only sting once, and then they die. That's it. So, um, but basically, hornets can sting how many other times they want. So I took off running, and as I was saying, and I got over to the neighbor's yard, and they finally left me. I let I want to say I ran like, I don't know, probably 50 yards. I want to say something like that. I mean, I was just going to keep going until they let me go. But basically, I could hear it like I could start feeling like them lifting off. I didn't feel as many of them stinging me, I guess is the best way to put it. I don't know. I just was kind of freaking out, and I got my shirt off by the time I got over, about to the neighbor's yard, and I just hit the deck in the neighbor's yard, out in the middle of the neighbor's yard again, and basically they were gone at that point. And my mom approached me, and she's like, "Oh my God," and I'm like, it hurts so bad, because it did. I mean, it felt like every single sting was on fire, like, I'm sorry I'm not the best storyteller too, by the way, but every single sting, felt like it was on fire, like as if you just put gasoline on that spot and just lit my skin on fire. And um, so that's basically the best way to describe it. And I just basically walked towards the back, and she's like, "Oh, let me make you some of the paste," because my mom makes this paste up with the frickin' whatchamacallit. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name off the top of my head for some odd apparent reason. But it's baking soda. There we go. God darn. But yeah, she makes like a special paste, and so she put that, like we sat there, and I rubbed that on it, and I mean, I had like 12 to 15 stings. You know, I said there's a couple on the side of my head. You know, I'm telling her where I believe I got stung at. You know, and you could see the marks. I don't have a picture of the marks, but I got like, a couple. I mean, this has been a while ago, but I had a couple. I mean, they lasted about 3 weeks to a month. I mean, they just went away just a little while ago, probably like a week ago. They went away, and so it's pretty wild story. I know. I'm sorry, I'm not the best storyteller, but I'm not as good at it as into a computer. Of course, I'm better at telling it, telling a story, sitting there showing, almost showing you. But so it was a pretty wild story, actually. And so yeah, that's really my Hornets story. Um, and we're planning on taking the nest down in the fall. The neighbor that I ran into their yard, actually said that she wants it, so we're gonna take it down in the fall because once the cold air comes in, they take off. They leave. They don't stick around anymore. So we'll be taking it, and we're gonna hang. They're gonna hang it up in their garage. You know, they sit there. They'll preserve it, whatever. They can do some pretty cool things with it. So you don't want them coming back, but usually with most nests, even if we left it up, they usually once they're gone from it, they don't come back. Sometimes they do, but other times they don't. So I don't know whether I've never heard of any coming back, but I'm just saying that just because maybe they do. Anyways, I'm sorry. I'm just rambling on at this point. But so guys, that was my Hornet story. I hope you enjoyed. I will get better at storytelling if I do more of these. So if you guys want to hear more, I guess, about my IRL stories, crazy stories, let me know. By the way, I got some big updates coming. I know things have been going wild with Pirate, but I have some great things on the way for everybody. So you guys should all be happy after we get things set up. And I'm setting up a great deal right now. So as long as everyone kind of goes, it's kind of like one of those deals to where if I could do it, like I would have it done already, but it's kind of like everyone has to agree on the deal, and all this crap. It's no different than going through Congress, in the United States. I mean, in the United States, you have to go through Congress. It has to go through House and the Senate and etc. The president has to sign it. That's basically what I'm going through right now. So it's kind of like one of those ordeals with everybody everybody kind of agreeing on what they want to do. So, um, yeah, so I'll be bringing updates to Pirate here very shortly. That should be out within the next couple days or so. So, I'll be seeing you guys later. This has been Lead. Peace out.